Hello. Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Eric Chevret. I'm president and founder of IT360 Financial. Uh, Thank you for the second leg of that three-leg series, I am joined today with Andrew Wall, that most of you probably know, Andrew Wall from CPA for IT. So maybe you can talk a little bit about what you do, Andrew.
Sure. So thanks again for having us to this session, Eric. My name's Andrew Wall. I'm the CEO of CPA for IT, an accounting firm specializing in independent consultants, where our mission is to help our clients organize their finances, create wealth, and transform wealth into a legacy. And I'm excited to be a part of this session because there's so much that I have to learn about Sharia law and its impact on the financial success of our clients. So I'm excited to hear from our two guests today who are far more knowledgeable on this subject than I am, and I'm looking forward to learning today. So thank you for having me be a part of this, Eric.
Thank you. Thank you, Andrew. So, Dr. Abdul Bassett, if you want to introduce yourself for the benefit of the audience, please.
Thank you very much, Eric, for this invitation for the second pillar of this webinar series about Islamic financing. My name is Abdel Basit Ben Isa. I have a PhD in Islamic jurisprudence, and I am the head of Fatwa Committee in the Imams Council of Quebec, and part of many Islamic organizations like the International Council of Islamic Scholars. I will be. I am very very happy to be with you today, and I wish that I can clarify the maximum as can the principles of Islamic financing and the way what we call the halal investing today.
Thank
I
you for being here.
Thank you very much.
And we have Alib. If you want to introduce yourself, please. And before you do, I missed at the beginning, why Andrew and I decided to do these webinars. It's really we work together with independent consultants across the country. We have thousands of clients, and we uh, we don't see ourselves at all as expert, in this. You are the expert, but we want to offer as much service to our clients, and it's a growing community. In the IT world, there's a growing community coming from you guys. So, I mean, what's important for us is not to become expert, but is to have a discussion and to understand a little bit more and to be able to have honest discussion about what we can do to help everybody out with this. So, Galib, if you want to present yourself and your company that I work with and that I love very, very much, I mean, it's very niche, but essential to my service offer, and I'm pleased to have you today with us.
Wonderful. No, thank you so much, Eric. And it's really a pleasure to be part of this esteemed panel. My name is Ghalib Salam. I've been with Global Growth Assets almost a year plus. Prior to that, for good almost 2 decades, I was with Royal Bank of Canada, various senior leadership positions, but at the same time, a decade of other banking experiences in the world of banking and finance. And truly appreciate the opportunity to represent Global Growth Assets on this forum for the sake of demonstrating that what we do and what we do for the benefit of the audience. We are investment fund manager for Global Iman Fund that happens to be Sharia compliant mutual fund and which is widely available through our partners like Eric and others on a countrywide basis. And I'll just take a few minutes for the benefit of the audience to share that who we are and what we do, and set the stage for our Q&A. Eric, if that's okay with you?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Perfect. No, thank you very much again. Quickly, I'll for the benefit of the audience, this presentation is more focused on Sharia investing. So just a quick intro about Global Growth Assets. We manage close to around 800 million assets. And since 2009, we've been to 1998, as a whole conglomerate, we've been in business. Since 2008, Global Growth Assets have been in business. And since then, in 2009, we introduced Global Iman Fund, and we just crossed 250 million last week. There are a few disclaimers, and please do understand this presentation or this communication and this discussion as an investment fund manager should not be construed as a sales conversation with the audience over here. What is Sharia finance? So primarily, no riba, which is interest. Risk sharing, it's profit and loss driven. Real assets, all transactions are backed by tangible assets or services. And a lot of it has to do with ethical screening of the investments. And when I say that means even this is applicable for Global Iman Fund as well. We do take care of that. Again, riba is taken out of the equation when we try to understand, where we need to invest. The element, Garar, is the element of uncertainty. Transaction must be clear. And Maisar, which is gambling and speculation, so we don't get into those kind of businesses or companies, and haram industries, as you may understand, investments in alcohol, pork, conventional banking, weapons, pornography, and entertainment business, and other prohibited sectors. I won't dig deeper into the Sharia compliant investing world, which is combination of Islamic bonds, which are called sukuk, Islamic real estate investment trust, the kafal, which is an Islamic form of insurance, and then Islamic equity funds, which are stock portfolio. That's where we come into the picture. And the commodity funds, again, supported by tangible assets, and then endowment funds, which we call Waqf funds. So screening, very quickly, I'll just walk you through the process. What in general happens is, as a portfolio manager, the portfolio manager screens the business activities, financial ratios, and ensure those entities or at a global equity level are Sharia, meets the Sharia criteria. Then the Sharia Supervisory Board scholars review the overall authenticity of the portfolio composition, and then they issue a fatwa against it. And then, of course, the whole process of investment goes through this cycle of audit and purification, so that any income, if portfolio contains, can be taken out of by a non-halal income, that's called, and can be donated to the charity. So I won't, as I said, expand further, but for the benefit of the audience, we thought that it will be important to set the stage and then pass the platform back to Eric. Over to you, Eric. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alip. So many people hear the terms halal investing and Sharia compliant investing, and even when I pronounce this, I feel a little bit uncomfortable, to make sure that I don't shock anybody, that I don't put my foot in my mouth, It's always, but when the first time I met Dr. Abdul Baset, I was like wearing white gloves because I didn't want to upset him. I said, I'm like a child trying to learn, and please don't be offended. And I ended up with a very good human being, and he was kind enough, to give me so much information. That's why I wanted to create a series where everybody could benefit. But we don't always understand what that really means in practice. Okay, so halal investing or Sharia compliance. So Dr. Benessa or Dr. Abdul Basit, sorry, from a scholarly perspective, what are the core principles that make an investment truly compliant? You know.
Yeah, thank you for the questions. Brother Ghalib already said everything, almost everything. So what we will do after, we will explain the slides with examples. Thank you very much for this presentation. So the word halal and the word sharia, it's a strange words. The word halal, it's in simple means acceptable, permissible. And we have the word in Hebrew, which kosher. Find this kosher everywhere, in Coca-Cola, in everywhere. Kosher. Kosher means the big goods. Big goods. This word exists even in Quran. Inna a'tainaka al-kawthar. The word kawthar is the word kosher. The kawthar is the big good. Ibn Abbas, the companions, the most person who knows the Quran, he said, al-kawthar al-khayru al-kathir. See, the big good. So, halal, permissible, good, what's good. The word sharia, we hear a lot, they want to practice practice sharia. Sharia's word means the law or the source of the law. Sharia means simply the law or the source of the law. So when we say Sharia compliant, this means that contract, for example, preserve the rules of the law. That's it.
Okay.
And sometimes I see personally it's good to translate these words. In terms to say halal, we say permissible or legal. To say Sharia, we say law. And people, we will destroy these barriers, these walls between peoples and the meaning. So the question, what is halal investment or Sharia compliant investment? Brother Ghalib said that we have 3 or 4 very simple principles. The first one is the prohibition of interest of riba. And we talked about this the last time. And globally, riba interest, it's a question of what we see is istighlal, it's exploitation of the needy person in the situations, and we have also the question of injustice. Those who have money, they are always in winners, and those who are getting these debts, they are always losers. So this is why, in general, why interest is not accepted. It's not a question of economic, but it's ethical in the basis. The second principle, we have the avoidance of excessive uncertainty. We call this in Arabic gharar. Gharar is we don't know about the thing. I give an example of Amazon boxes, surprise boxes. I will buy something, I don't know what is it in it. So I win $100. Perhaps I will find $2,000. Perhaps I will find nothing. This is gharar. But sometimes we will practice it in other ways. I give just examples.
Okay.
Third ones, and why is prohibited? Because after the transaction, we will have not this clarity of transactions. We will have conflict after that. And for Islam, these transactions are ways to get the brotherhood and the social relations more strong, more strength. Not using this gharar, and we will have a lot of problems after. And
Okay.
yeah, the third, as we have avoidance of unethical industries. He gave the example of pornography, alcohol, and so on and so on. These things, in general, even in the West, it's not legal for the children, for the youth. If you see what's prohibited for the youth, it's haram in Islam. That's
Okay.
it. You can see that. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
You have gambling. You have everything. It's prohibited for kids and youth. And we have the what we say, the risk sharing transaction. So for Islam, لا تظلمون ولا تظلمون. We have this justice, this risk sharing. Not, for example, the bank is always winners, and the others, sometimes they win, sometimes they lose. No, we share benefits, and we share lose also. And this, for after the brother will explain this in practical cases, this one of the most important pillars to clarify what's halal and what's not halal. And the last thing is that the Islamic finance is real is finance. It works not with the virtual and the not touchable things. It's
Okay.
It's a real economic, and this avoid a lot of problems. And these principles, we will use it for clarify what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. And we will say this halal, it's acceptable, and this not halal, it's not acceptable in general.
Okay. Okay.
I got a follow-up question to that, Eric, if it's okay.
Yeah.
So I think I'm grasping this, but does that mean that having halal or Sharia compliant investments have to sacrifice diversity or growth to be faith compliant? And I mean, is there a difference from how how Ghalib might approach it from an investment standpoint versus Dr. Bassett, how you would approach it from a faith perspective?
For me, I don't see the problem. It's the term of Islamic. It's just a term to say it's ethical. It's justice. It's clear. That's it. I don't see the problem in that. But I see the positive face. It's in economics terms. It's good for the economic, and it's good for the community, and it's good for the moral faith. But the other ways, perhaps the numbers sometimes shows goods, but the reality is not. This is my. Even I let Brother Ghalib to say his words.
Yeah,
And
no,
before he
please go ahead.
before he says something, I mean, we cannot talk if you need to know about the performance of the fund. I mean, over the last 10 years, this fund has given our clients very great rate of return, Andrew. So basically, it will be a little bit like if we follow ESG, like funds that are good for the environment, good for social, good for, we have very good result. The same things with Global Iman, I mean, I think they can have their cake and eat it too, to use an English expression where they are honestly giving very good performance to the clients, still following the principle, I mean, to what I've experienced for the past 5-10 years.
Right.
This is what I've seen. Do you have anything to add, Ghalib?
No, I think Dr. Abdul Basit were kind enough to make things easier for me. And Eric, to your point, one thing I'll just add, it's definitely, Global Iman Fund is a Sharia compliant fund. So we are not only faith-based investing, we are also, socially responsible, ethical investing. So combination of a lot of factors, Andrew, to your point, how can we phase in, the ethical element? And because we got investors who are also non-Muslim faith-based as well. Why? Because they are socially conscious and ethical investors. So that's it. What I'll expand on this rather than, and we
Okay.
can move on to the next one. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So for me, and sometimes I'm very candid, but I may drop a bomb on the subject, and I'm like, oh my God, again, you put your foot in your mouth, Eric. We had that discussion with some clients, and how far do they dig to find out that it is Sharia compliant, let's say, okay? And that's a discussion that I had with Dr. Abdul Bassett, where, okay, you do your due diligence, Galib, with your people, and you evaluate based on principles and all that, but still, some clients will call me, and I'm not an expert, but that company is in the portfolio and it shouldn't be there, So where do we draw the line, because it's very complex. And Dr. Abdul Bassett said to me, Eric, principles are principles, but if you have to dig 25,000 feet in the ground to find the real thing, maybe it's a little bit too much. So I want both of you to exchange on that subject, because even if you follow those principles, there's still clients calling me once in a while and say, I saw that they have that company in the fund, and based on me, it's not, it shouldn't be there, My God, I'm in a situation where I'm more a messenger representing you and trying to do my best at investing their money to grow their nest egg following these principles. But I really think it could be a good exchange, Dr. Abdul Bassett, on this, because you said at one point, if you do your due diligence and you think and you see that it's pretty good, it's pretty good. If you have to dig and dig and dig and dig, you will find problem. At one point, if I dig on every one of us, I will find problem on every one of us, and I'm like, what do I say to those guys? I'm stuck. So anything that you can add to this, it's a little bit tricky, but I'm sure you will do fine.
Yeah, it's talking about investing, just for the audience and for us to also. Islam push inside Muslim community to be investors and not to preserve money in their homes and their account. It's count as a sin to not invest money. In Surah At-Tawbah, repentance, the verse said, والذين يكنزون الذهب والفضة ولا ينفقونها في سبيل الله فبشرهم بعذاب أليم. Those who preserve gold and silver and they don't spend it in the way of God. The way of God, it means the way acceptable, legal. Announce for them big punishment. And the scholars said, is not just not to say, give just zakat, just donation for poor. No, just make money in the account and don't invest it. So investing is an obligation in general. The second case in the Islamic finance, said about those who preserve the wealth of orphans. اتجروا في أموال اليتامى لا تأكلها الزكاة. Invest the wealth of orphans and don't let the zakat consume it, because in every year we have to give 2.5% of the wealth to the poor. And Umar, the caliph, he said, invest the money. Because if you, the wealth of the orphan 1 year, 2 years, and still 16 years to be adult, to have the right to get his money. 16 years. Every year, 2.5% will be deleted. And he invested. And the wealth will grow. So what your question is about, who can say that is halal, this contract halal and this past halal? I think Brother Ghalib is every day, this company have that, this company do that. In Islam, even in the Quran, we can't say that is halal as condition 100% pure. In the Quran, the prohibition of, for example, alcohol and gambling, God said about خمر الميسر فيهما إثم كبير ومنافع للناس وإثمهما أكبر من نفعهما. People asking about gambling and alcohol said there are many goods in these things and also many bad things, but the bad things are bigger than the good things. So that alcohol and gambling is prohibited. So when we can say that this investment is halal or this contract is halal, it's not a condition we have to say 100% pure. No. If the biggest part is correct, we say it's correct. For example, the criteria, the Brother Ghalib will explain that for the halal basket or actions, we see if the capital of the companies, the biggest part, more than 60%, 70% is not a debt, it's okay. You know, so we practice this rule of al-hukmu lil-ghalib. So the hukmu lil-ghalib, the judgment is based on the biggest part. If the biggest part is okay, it's okay. If the biggest part is not okay, it's not halal. But exigent, telling the Umar ibn Khattab, asking about the little things. We are in the Quran. It talks about the milk. God said that milk من بين فرث ودم لبنا خالصا. The source of the milk comes from origin impure. The core, the body of the cow, or in terms we have blood, we have and the pure milk comes through. So if we are asking from where this milk is coming, the milk is pure, but the origin is not pure. من بين فرث ودم لبنا خالصا. So if you are asking the origins, of course we will sometimes you will find something is not okay. It's not. This is not the way of Islam. Umar, the second caliph, considered one of the pillars of jurisprudence, Islamic jurisprudence, is the founder, the origin of the Maliki school in jurisprudence Islamic. One time they are traveling and they saw water, and one of them of the team want to ask the person who lives just near this water, if the savage animals like wolves and if they drink from this water and the water become not pure. Yeah, he asked if animals come and drink from this water. Umar al-Di, don't answer us. Don't answer us. We don't. Asking this is not Islam. In the Quran, in Surah Al-Ma'idah, the table, God said, all believers, لا تسألوا عن أشياء إن تبد لكم تسؤكم. Don't ask about little things. One time it's revealed, it's that will be unacceptable. So a question about little things, it's not Islam. So one of the most pillar of the Islamic jurisprudence in financial things is taking things globally, asking in details. We say in French, le diable habite dans les détails. Devils,
devils is the detail. Yeah.
So asking in details is not, and what we have in the Quran, the first chapter, second a long chapter in the Quran called the cow, with this story with the other nation. God ask them to sacrifice a cow, and though they start to asking what's the color, what's the race, what's the big, what's the tall, what's the, and they can't find this. So if they get just any cow, it was acceptable. And it's the first story in the Quran. The first story in the Quran to tell us, if you want to practice religion, practice it in globally. Don't ask the details, because in the I said in the rules, كلما دق الأمر شق in Arabic. If the things are in details, that becomes very difficult. Yeah.
So as a recap, you know, I mean, for me, being like a sponge, you know, and taking as much in as I can, you know, from you guys, is it doesn't have to be pure, as long as it's there's a lot of things that are pro Sharia, you know, and after it's a common sense. So if we go after purity, it's a lost battle from the get-go, because in this world, as much as we want purity, you know, there's always the balance of
No. So like we said, the rule is everything is permissible. That is the rule. The impurity is the exceptions. So we don't need proof to say that it's okay. No, the principle is everything is acceptable, and the exceptions is the prohibition, not the inverse.
Okay. So common sense at the end of the day, and you do your evaluation, you know, and it's good based on what you do, Caleb. You know, I mean, for me, good enough would be this, you know, but for you do a very thorough analysis, you know, I mean. So did you have in the past companies that were selected and over time they were unselected? You know, is it something that can be done along the way, where at the entry level, yes, we do our due diligence to make sure that they fit everything that you showed us, but along the way things change? So do you have process, not to be like picky, but what's the process after the introduction of a company into the fund to keep that company into the fund, or decide to remove that company over time for a reason that you judge it would make the portfolio not halal anymore?
Indeed, great question, and thank you, Dr. Basit, again for expanding on the background, because this is helpful, right? Because how do you go through that purification process of selecting? So for us, it's comparatively easier, and I tell you why. Because we deal with technicals. When you're dealing with technicals, so we will actually, our portfolio manager happens to be UBS Canada. So they will actually pick and select from global Sharia Dow Jones IXML index. So they will actually pick already selected entities globally, And if there are 100 entities in that index, for instance, I'm just sharing for the benefit of the audience. So given their competence, given their ability to connect with the performances of those identified entities, they will take appropriate positions. When I say that, those positions could be long, but they are not short because we don't go into speculation, but they are purely performance driven, right? So with these are blue chip identified entities with monthly, quarterly performance reports. If something is happening, keeping aside the market behavior, but fundamentally, if the company is not coming up to certain thresholds, certain benchmarks, where the portfolio manager thinks that, you know what, it may be wise to take our position in a different entity, they will liquidate and they will take those position in a separate entity that has better performance measures, separate industry altogether, depending, and they are guided by an investment policy statement for the purpose of, going through those rigorous decision-making process. So, Eric, to your earlier point, because there's so many granular activities, if you can go down too deep into something there, you may feel, and you often come across these situations, we have come across these situations, that this entity should not be part of the fund scripts. So how do we tackle that? So, as a custodian of either our existing clients or potential clients, we raise that concern to the Sharia supervisory committee that, if we are having these concerns, whatever the nature of concerns, we just register those. Now it's up to them to make it Sharia qualified or not, right? But for us, it's important that we advocate on behalf of the voices that are being raised from an investment level. That's all what we can do, right? So if the Sharia committee decides to drop that entity from the index, it will get dropped off by us as well, by the portfolio manager.
Okay,
right?
so basically the first safety net is you pick from a pool of companies that have already been vetted by the Sharia committee or that's it, pretty much. Okay.
Yep.
Okay,
Thank
perfect.
you.
Now, I've got another sort of follow-up to this, I guess, for you, Galib. And that would be, from my perspective, I would understand the diversification and benefits of a fund, but maybe can you explain the difference between why a investor might want to choose something like the Global Oman Fund versus a Sharia compliant individual investment, like an individual company versus a fund?
Yeah, so great question. And I don't know, Eric, if you would like to take that because it's more of an, advisory,
Yeah.
we can perhaps
Yeah.
pass
But
it on to you. Yeah.
Yeah, so what I like about a fund is it's a group of companies, just one company, the risk is much greater, okay? Because if we look at the performance of one company, there's a lot of losers to have one winner. But when you have a portfolio of many companies, you reduce the risk. So it's mainly, in my opinion, a way to go with Global Iman to reduce volatility and to have a group of experts that will go through not only are these companies fitting the Sharia profile and law, but also they do their digging after to find the best companies out there instead of having to pick one company that if you're lucky, you may be very, very okay. But if you look at the amount of companies that don't do that great, I always prefer to diversify my risk over a basket of companies than trying to pick the company, So
Right. That's the advantage of the fund. They're out there doing the work to figure out which are the companies to bet on.
Yeah, exactly. And you diversify the risk, you know. It's
so it's not betting because we're not
No,
gambling.
no.
Investing.
Investing. Yes,
And
Dr.
learning.
Abdul Basit, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, these principles of the Sharia, the law, it comes to help people to that their lives become more easily and more acceptable and more ethical. But if the Sharia becomes a barrier between the community on the people and lives their lives, this is a problem. We have one of the most important scholars in our Islamic history called Imam al-Juwayni. Imam al-Juwayni. His second name is the Prince of Scholars, Sultan al-Ulama, the Prince of Scholars. He wrote a book during the 5th century Islamic. We talk about 11th century, 12th century, the common era. The book entitled غياث الأمم في التياث الظلام, the salvation of nations during the darkness area. When the Islamic civilization was very strong, he think about if the Muslim community as Muslim civilizations will be weak, and we cannot practice and live through the Islamic rules. How the jurist will say. And he explained this rule that is the religion puts condition to help people to live. If these conditions became a barrier to live, it's not wise to say that. For example, he said if haram is everywhere, and we cannot work, we cannot invest, we cannot live without touching this haram. We cannot say that we have to die starving and we will be through God as martyrs. No, he said that we have to live, but we have to touch these unacceptable things just a little bit, because law is revealed to help community, not to be a barrier. This is very important things.
Very, very, very important. Yeah.
Yeah. This wisdom is here, and even this, for example, we take this condition. We cannot apply everything. I know some scholars, some imams. They wrote books. Books are talking about the models. Theoretical, it's 100% what we ask, what we want, but the real thing is not everything like that. So we do what we can do, and we let the life pass. And if we want to, for example, I will say this. For example, it's not about halal investing. For example, they want that the contract as 100%. They wrote it in the jurisprudence books, and it's not the wisdom of the fiqh. This is what I want to clarify.
Okay, thank you. So again, it goes back to we aim for perfection, but we are never gonna touch perfection. So we just need to use our common sense and make sure that we do everything that we can as a human being to do things in accordance. I have a very, very strong question from the audience. You know, I mean, has the Global Iman Investment Fund taken into account companies who manufacture weapons or those who invest in companies with presence in countries who commit genocide? Okay, so very powerful, you know, and I'm not me in a position, obviously, you know, to answer that question. Galib, you can answer a little bit on that, and
Sure.
maybe Dr. Abdul Basit, after that, I see a trail of how much do you dig? I mean, that company is in the States, let's say, and they invest in a country that is not really acting the way that we would like them to act, So, I mean, where do we draw the line? So there's like twofold to that question, and I think the first portion could be Galib to answer,
Sure.
and maybe Dr. Abdul Bassett could answer the rest. So, as the Global Iman Investment Fund, take it into account companies who manufacture weapons, or those who invest in companies with presence in countries that who commit genocide, where do we draw the line?
Yeah, no, thanks, Eric. I'll from Global Iman standpoint, if fundamentally and technically any weaponry manufacturing entity should not be part of the index, one, neither it should be invested in. So given the Sharia investing principles, so to that question, the first part is no, right?
No.
Because we don't. And the other part is, if any entity, well, that is part of a country, now that's fundamentally, it's again a bigger question. If there are certain entities, but again, non-manufacturing, non-weaponry related, if I take it from that perspective, non-weaponry related, but they are based or operating out of entity that is conducting a genocide, I think that's something fundamentally the Sharia Advisory Board should look into rather than us making a distinctive call on that, right? Plus the revenues coming out of that nature of business and where the revenues are coming from, what's the percentage of that total revenue? Because, then if you are, I'm purely specifying from a tech base, software base perspective, not necessarily physically manufacturing a weaponry or ammunition platform. So from a tech base, if fundamentally the Sharia Advisory Board is and should be technically traveling with that information so that if they feel this entity, whatever that entity could be, it needs to be dropped off the index, they should drop it off.
Doctor?
Yeah, it's a good and big difficult question. Because we have two sides. The first side is if we invest with these companies or these countries, sometimes even countries, that they do bad things, harmful things, injustice, wars, crimes, for example. In principle, it's not acceptable because the rule is simple. وَتَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْبِرِّ وَالتَّقْوَى وَلَا تَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْإِثْمِ وَالْعُدْوَانِ. Help each other in the good things, not in the bad things. This is the Quran. And this is why we have not the right to give our money, our wealth, to parties that will use it in the bad ways. But if we will practice this 100%, in which level we will stop? For example, if I talked about boycotting companies, and I will give an example. I will boycott Walmart, for example, because he held this and this. Good. But do you boycott, for example, Siemens, who make scanners machines and IRM machines and medical machines? Will you boycott that or no? You will boycott the drug company who sells insulin and everything, and they gave donation or a percentage of their benefits for Tel. In which term we will say that is acceptable and that is not acceptable? In terms of legal religious way, we have the example of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, peace be upon him. He have his enemies in the same city. They try to kill him. To kill him many times. Even that, he make business with them. They were his enemy. He doesn't say that if I gave my money to them, I am strengthening them and they are my enemies. Because if you gave money, you will have something, you know. And this is why we can't say one word to resume everything. This is why we will say that it's case by case. It's case by case. And like Ghalib said, the participation, the degrees, is they participate really physically, directly, or they are in the second, the third, the fourth, the 10th circle.
That's it.
Yeah, and this is why it's for the companies, they will study each case alone, each company alone. We cannot say this every company who made donation to this country, it's prohibited to make business with them. This is not law. It's not, because the Prophet even himself, he made business with his enemy. And this case, we will sometimes we have this in the case of economic war. Economic war, yeah, and this. We have studied this profoundly, and as a jurist, we cannot say one word, one fatwa, one religious position for everything, and to say cas par cas, case by case.
Case per case. So, and I knew it was a complex question when I saw it in the chat, you know, but I really appreciate your answer, guys. You know, thank you for participating in that tough question. Before I ask my last one, it's a little bit Dr. Abdul Bassett. When we went to Starbucks together, we both love coffee, and you said, "I came here to make a point. If I wanted to be pure, you know, I mean, I go down and down and down, and I know that they are in line with other people, and I could." And you said, all together, you know, I mean, we need to evaluate this with common sense and not aim to perfection. So today, many professionals, you know, business owners have incorporated companies. You know, we work, me and Andrew, with independent consultants, small business owners in Canada. They have retirement account, they invest money for their children in RESP. They have complex financial needs, you know. So, Dr. Abdul Bassett, how do you see the importance of financial planning and preparation within Islamic teaching, you know?
Yeah. So the technical things, Brother Ghalib is the professional here, but in a religious way, this is important to know that think about the future of himself and the future of his children is a part of this religion. For example, we have the Prophet, peace be upon him. He used to preserve 1 year. What we say, what is enough for his family for 1 year. He make it to be sure that he will not have a financial problem issue in the second or the third or fourth. He is a prophet, but he make this economic things for his family for almost one year. In the Quran, we have this rule with balance in spending money, and it makes in the 10th commandments explained in the Quran. I think it's not exists in the Bible, but in the Quran, these financial rules, it's one of the 10th commandments in Islamic version. ولا تجعل يدك مغلولة إلى عنقك ولا تبسطها كل البسط فتقعد ملوما محسورا. Don't get the money on you. Don't spending anything. And the second thing, don't make your hand like that, spending everything. And seek the middle between them. In the economic, it's the third or the fourth commandment in the 10 commandments in the Islamic version.
Okay.
There is three rules about money and financial things in the 10 commandments in the Islamic version. This is the first one. Make the spending a middle between spending everything and not spend anything. And we have also in the Quran, in the biography of the Prophet, thinking about the retirement. In his dua, in invocation, asking God, he usually make this dua, Allahumma ij'al khayra rizqi fi akhiri umuri. I learned this just few months ago. Oh God, make the best of my wealth in the last of my life.
Oh.
So yeah.
Oh yeah.
So this is a retirement. This is a program of retirement.
Yeah.
That's in the last of my years, I will have the best of my wealth in the dua of the Prophet. And this is taking of retirement, and he in the plan. In the Quran, we have this thinking about the future of the children. ذرية ضعافا خافوا عليهم فليتقوا الله وليقولوا قولا سديدا. Those who have children weak and they are afraid for their future of their children. The Quran said that they have to be patient and they have taqwa. Taqwa is they shouldn't this fear about our children and future of our children. We have the right to pass through the rules to get impure money for your children. Be patient, be calm, get pure money for your children. And this love, let this love push you to get unacceptable money.
Okay.
But this feeling to think about the future of our children is good. But we have to make it in the good ways. So this is what we can, in few words, we can.
Yeah, no, that's very good.
It's commendable to think about.
And like you said,
our retirements, our economic and the economic of our children.
And
how we do that?
Yeah.
Iman, I think.
We'll take care of it. Yeah. No, the good thing, or not the good thing, but one thing that I learned from you today is that to keep the money and not investing it is in a sense a sin, you know. I mean, so money, so all that, you know, I mean, is in line, you know, with what we discussed. And finally, the last word, you know, before I close the meeting, to be conscious with the time, Galib, how are compliant investment solution evolving to meet the real world need of modern Muslim families in Canada? You know, I mean, basically, with what you've said, you know, I mean, you pick in that basket that has been pre-evaluated, but how do you build after that portfolio? You know, I mean, do you go more in technology? I know at some point you were pretty heavy in technology and you had a very good run, you know, I mean, it was amazing. Could you like expand a little bit on that? You know, I mean, I understood today that basically you pick from a basket that has been pre-sorted by someone else, which increase the degree of compliance. You know, like basically, I mean, somebody else do the heavy lifting of, is it possible for us to put it in the fund or not? Then after, you have a choice of a certain amount of companies and you build your portfolio. So how do you build that portfolio to be as diversified as possible and give the best rate of return to our clients, you know?
Indeed. No, thanks, Eric. I love before I answer, I love the analogy Dr. Abdul Basit shared about, the wealth. So we typically take it as a wealth in the world of Sharia as a stewardship, right? So it's transient, one, and you're the custodian because it has to move on to whomever happens to be the beneficiary of whatever stage of one's life. Nevertheless, but keep the ball rolling, the investments, process, profit and loss, that's part of life. You move on and carry on, but that's really important. Now, from Eric, to your ask, what keeps us in business? One is to stay relevant, be top of the game, and make sure that, the industries, the performances, and what's relevant out there from an operating and technological standpoint, because it's a very fast moving world out there, right? Which is impacting not only one businesses, industries as well, right? So to be on top of the game, our job is to make sure that as a custodian of the investors, our portfolio manager just make sure that they keep their eye on the ball and making sure that our investments are not only Sharia friendly, they are Sharia compliant at all point in time. It resonates well with socially responsible and ethical investing diaspora, plus faith-based, that is, Muslim diaspora as well. And how do we continue to manage to ensure that, we stay above the ground and make sure, well, the markets can move up and down, but our existence since 2009 in terms of Global Iman Fund to date, we have experienced bullish and bearish markets. Remain consistent and have that degree of competence and composition of portfolio that will keep our investors savvy in the fund. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Andrew, do you want to close the meeting, or you have a question? We are 2 minutes past, but
I'll keep it brief. I again want to thank both Galib and Dr. Abdul Basit for joining us today and educating us. And it's great to hear that it sounds like there are options and solutions out there to enable us to support our clients in a mission to help them organize their finances, create wealth, and transform wealth into a legacy, and that our mission is compliant with halal and Sharia-based investments and tools and planning, which is great, and it helps me to better serve my clients and be able to provide the solutions and align their faith-based mission with my objective as their accountant to help them be successful. So thank you for helping me to understand how to do that effectively.
Yeah, thank you guys. Really, it was very it's always for me mind-blowing, to learn so much from you guys, so I wish everybody a good rest of the day. Watch the social media, for the French version of this webinar. And last series will be about insurance product for your community. So we will have another discussion with Dr. Abdul Basit. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Andrew. Always a pleasure.